All right, so day 2's in the books, yeah?
It is. We got up really early, and the Netherlands does not wake up until
Later than what we woke up on a Sunday, especially.
9 o'clock on a Sunday is when everything starts. But we're up at 6:30, and we're walking around, and there's nothing.
And it's really dark. Like, I didn't believe my phone, what time it said. So I looked at my watch, and that agreed that it was wrong. That at 6:45 in the morning, we're out. It's super dark. It seems like it's 3 in the morning on a Sunday morning, but it's really close to 7.
Yeah.
It's still really dark. It was rain or showers or rain or stopped and then rain some more and whatever.
Yep.
And we're walking around just enjoying the wet cobblestones.
Yeah, and just looking around, I think we saw maybe 5 other people.
Right,
the
and
whole
like
time.
3 cars, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we're looking around for a cafe because, 7 o'clock in the morning, there should be a cafe
You
open.
would think.
And no.
No.
So we saw this young lady and we said, "Excuse me, is there a cafe that's open around here?" And she's like, "Oh, no, another hour or so." And she walks around the corner and walks into a cafe to open said
In an hour or
cafe.
so.
All right, so I guess we're done with our wandering. So we headed back to the house. Did some work on the show, published the show and or the daily diary for yesterday. Had some tea, watched it rain out in the garden, and it was just
a beautiful day.
It really was. The morning went really well, and then Joris and Nora got up and they had their training or their sports.
Their sports is what they call it.
And then we kept working for a few hours, whatever, and then we went out for breakfast to the Roos or Roos or
something.
Roos is how it's spelled for us. So we walk in. We found this place. It's on one of the main canals here in Leiden. Walk in, and it has maybe 7, 8 tables total, and this lady just starts
rapid fire Dutch at us.
And my eyes just glaze over and I look at her and I was like, English?
And she was like, oh, sorry.
Right. And she laughs and so she's like, give us about 10 minutes. And I was like, sure. So, okay. So we go out and it's windier and colder than we expected here.
And I mentioned on, I think it was Facebook it was on our Slack that I was very much regretting my choice to not bring a coat or a scarf.
And that was my bad because I just didn't think it would be this cool with the wind and everything.
We looked at the weather and everything and it didn't say, we thought, 50s, 60s we would be fine, but it did not mention how much it rains and it did not mention the wind.
Right. The wind is the part.
Yeah.
So we have umbrellas and whatever. But anyway, so finally we get a table, we sit down, and I'll be honest, I am really grateful to Google Translate because I do not read Dutch at all. And Google Translate on the menu works really, really well.
Yeah, it's that thing where you just put your phone over on top of it and it translates it to English like automatically, and that's literally the only way we were able to order food because
well, I mean, she would have understood us, but we couldn't have read what to order.
Exactly.
And so what kind of coffee did you have?
I had a caramel macchiato that was amazing.
And the lady behind me had some fresh mint tea.
Yeah, like
I've
literally
never seen
mint.
This. It's just a few stalks of mint, a whole bunch of mint leaves in hot water.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know why that never occurred to me, but
never did.
That looks like a great idea. But I had some Earl Grey tea to start. Had I had the best French toast with fresh berries I've ever had in my life. It was gorgeous to look at, and oh my God, did it taste good.
Yeah, I had, it was 2 huge pieces of dark bread with seeds for the topping, and then on top of it was eggs that would have been scrambled with goat cheese and basil, and then had roasted baby tomatoes on top. Oh my gosh.
Seriously, we ate well.
Yes, it was so good.
Then I had a mocha that was a non-American mocha, which I appreciated, which was a lot more bitter than it was sweet. You had another caramel macchiato.
I did.
And then one thing we noticed was we only had a couple hours until we had the Dutch heavy cardboard game day. And we thought, oh, we have plenty of time, but everything is just at a slower pace here. And I'm not saying this as a negative; it's quite the opposite.
No, but we
It's a
just
positive.
didn't know it going in.
And it just took a long time for our food to arrive because they're just not in a rush.
Right.
And I texted Yoris to let him know, hey, we're running a little later than I expected. And he's like, it's okay. We take time to enjoy life here.
Yeah, and that really struck a chord with me. I was like, wow, yeah, you do. Okay.
And that's how it should be.
Yes.
So after breakfast, we got up, we paid, we headed out, we went back. We went by a bakery, and it had fresh bread and all these little desserts, and we didn't buy anything, but it was cool just to experience it. And the thing I really like about Leiden is it doesn't feel touristy at all.
Not at all.
How everybody told us during game day yesterday was it's kind of like Little Amsterdam. It's very similar to Amsterdam, but not as touristy.
Yeah, it was. It's just been lovely.
And that's why we decided to stay there for tomorrow for our walk around day. So after that, we went back to the house. Jeroen and Bianca and Ragnar were over, and they were having a little snack, some homemade croissants, and then we all. Joris and Nora stayed at the house because Nora had been gone all week and whatever.
Yeah.
So then the rest of us headed over. It's literally like a 5-minute walk to where the game day was, to the game store.
But the problem is we're walking 5 minutes and somewhat like it's really weird. The rain here, it can be like just kind of sputtering and then it's a full on like hurricane and then it stops and it's bizarre. So had to fight with my umbrella. It was an interesting walk, but it wasn't too long.
So, and I was carrying wheeling a big old suitcase with me that had a lot of Holland-Spiel games along with t-shirts for the game day. So we get over there and we see there were about 15 of us or so there. And I'm scared to name names.
Yeah, let's not name names because we'll forget.
We'll forget somebody, but it was really, really enjoyable.
Yes,
we played
it was.
Pacific Typhoon. Giovanni brought his copy of Pacific Typhoon, and he had read the rules but had not played it. And so there were 3 simultaneous games going. There was one that was Pacific Typhoon. They asked me to teach, so I taught that, and we played that 7-player. Then there was a 4 or 5-player game of Tramways, and then I think a 3-player game of like Battle of the Sea or Feud of the Sea.
It's really cute.
It's French, I think. Fruity de. So it didn't really appeal to me. More on that in a little bit. So we played Pacific Typhoon. I taught that. That was a lot of fun. Everybody enjoyed it. Everybody who played it enjoyed it. And it was just a good time to be able to just sit and talk and everything, which really that's what I was more interested in than I was playing any actual games. Then we went over to the Fruity game. And it really is kind of a abstract war game with a really cute seafood on a plate of pasta. Yeah, it's bizarre,
but it's cute, but can be kind of, like whoa, wait, I'm dead?
Can be mean. I was really surprised. And Marcella brought us a copy, so we have a copy to bring home to try it with our group and see how that goes over. So that was cool.
Yeah.
About that time, at the same time, the other table, when we finished up Pacific Typhoon, they played Curd City XL. And then Tramways was finishing up. And at that point, there was only about an hour left before the local store. And it's Die Tafelritter? Something like that. Really nice gentleman, a nice, friendly local game store. He had a coffee machine in there to where he would brew you coffee, had water, and there was a big Pokemon tournament, I think, going on, but everyone was very polite. I heard a lot more English than I expected.
I wasn't expecting. The table right outside the door was full of it looked like college kids playing. It was doing some sort of D&D thing.
Yeah, RPG.
Yeah,
and speaking
they
a
were
mix
all-
of Dutch
yeah.
and English.
It was crazy to hear so much English. I wasn't expecting that.
Right. And then after that, we decided, okay, look, we only have about an hour and 10 minutes. We didn't really have time for another game. But we had just muled a bunch of copies of Spiel games, and everybody was like, 4X? And I think there were 3 or 4 people that ordered 4X from us. So I was like, sure, if somebody wants to break out their copy, I'll teach it. So it was kind of a 4-player, 5-player learning game for about 13 people. Everyone else just stood around the table while I explained 4X and kind of some of the lessons that we had learned in the game. And that went really, really well. I mean, it's not a hard game to learn as far as mechanically. It's only 5 pages of rules. And I was really worried that everyone was going to be really disappointed just because it is such a nerds game, right? With it being all about foreign exchange and arbitrage and all of that. And it went over really, really well. I mean, Jeroen is a shark. He picked it up immediately. And
not to the shock of no one.
Right. And then everyone else, a lot of people were asking questions. And we met some Americans that currently live in the Netherlands.
Yes, he's doing some postdoctoral work, and she can work from home. So they just moved to Utrecht. And it was just awesome that these people came from all over the Netherlands. Seriously.
Just to hang out and play some games.
It was just unbelievable.
Yeah. So that was by far one of the highlights of the trip, and will remain one of the highlights of the trip.
It will.
It was just a cool, fun experience to celebrate this hobby together and celebrate the camaraderie. Like all these people that. Now, I met Giovanni, I met Mira previously at Essen last year, but it's all from the Slack channel and
seriously.
the guild
You
and
feel like
interactions on Twitter and all that.
You feel like you know them, and then to be able to put a face to the name that you've seen so much everywhere. And it's just like you know them. They finally have a face.
Yeah, and I know I said we wouldn't, but there was Yorick and Marlon and all this stuff, and it was just cool that all these people that like you said, we feel like we know because we've interacted with so much that it's excited to actually, oh, hey, you're a real person.
Yeah,
right?
Let me touch you and poke you. Okay, you're real.
That was it was really special. I really wanted to be able to go have dinner with everybody, but some of the people had to leave because they had other game days to go to, in Marlon's case, or they had a couple-hour drive or a couple-hour train ride or whatever. So we kind of all went our separate ways at that point, and we headed back to the house. And to kind of double down on the special just events that happened today was, here we are in Joris's house, and they decided, because we had asked about what is Dutch cuisine.
Right, what is traditional Dutch cuisine, and they were like, no, I don't know.
Right. And they said, well, it's mashed potatoes mashed with other vegetables
and we were like,
and a meat.
Okay.
And so they decided, you know what, let's have that. So it was you and me, Joris and Jeroen and Ragnar and Nora and Bianca sitting around peeling potatoes and peeling carrots, just sitting around the kitchen table, just being normal people, yet
just talking.
Yet it was just a little surreal. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Surreal is the best word for this entire thing that's going on here.
And then we had just like a family style dinner. And for it being such a simple, I don't want to say peasant's meal, but it was just, there was nothing
fancy.
No, it was
it was so good.
It really was. It was mashed potatoes mixed with, the potatoes, carrots, and onions all boiled together, then mashed up, and then seasoned well. And then smoked sausage.
It was so good.
And yes, please.
And that's what apparently you eat in Leiden on October 3rd, because that's the day that they defeated the Spaniards.
Yeah, the Spanish back in the 16th century.
So we have decided that will be something that the Eulers continue to do on October 3rd.
Right, a tradition here.
Yep.
And then after dinner, we sat around for a little bit. You were incredibly jet lagged.
Jet lag hit me like a brick wall at the meetup. And I feel so bad. I was just not there. I was so tired. And I feel horrible about it. But I didn't know what, I guess I could have stood up and done jumping jacks for 45 minutes.
So you headed down to get ready to rest before we record this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stayed up for a while. And you actually went to sleep for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, it was so domestic and so surreal. Like, here we are just doing the dishes and cleaning the kitchen, and it's me, Jeroen, Joris, and Ragnar
crazy.
basically doing all that. And then Jeroen and Bianca had a couple-hour train ride, so they took off. We bid them adieu until later on in the week. And then it was me, Joris, and Ragnar just sitting at the kitchen table talking board game design and talking just politics and talking life and just this isn't different than what anybody else does, and it's not special because ZOMG, this is Joris from Splot. It was just three dudes sitting around talking about a hobby that they love and just life in general. And then Joris is the devil. He broke out some local chocolate, which Dutch chocolate, I didn't know was a thing, but oh my God. He had this little sampler pack of, the different types, and it's like a mystery thing, but it has a little description of them. And I was like, no, I just want to grab. I'm not going to say it was better than sex, but oh my God. And so we had some green tea that he got from China.
Good Lord.
And it was just one of those special moments.
Yeah.
And I told him to put the chocolate away, and he did, and then he brought it back out. And 3 pieces later, I was like, damn you, man, damn you, get that away, keep it out, because that's so we stayed up talking, and then it just was an awesome day, man. It was just cool to play games, and more importantly, to visit with people we share this hobby with that live halfway around the world from us, that we have interacted with so much, and came down, woke you up, hey, and you're like, all right, let's do this.
Right.
And
where's my chocolate?
Right, sorry. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow is tourist.
Yes.
Heavy Cardboard takes on tourism in Leiden. And we're going to just be tourists and just go eat at various places and sit at a cafe and
wander
and go see the castle again and take pictures and go see the churches and maybe go see the windmill that makes flour now and just be tourists. And I'm really excited about that before we leave on Tuesday with Mira to go down to Essen, and then, okay, it's game on.
Yeah.
Work face on, and let's get to work.
Yep.
So yeah, a really special day. And I'll be honest, I don't know if this is interesting to y'all to hear about us in our travels, because it's not all board game centric. But so let us know. Tell us what y'all think about this, and if you are enjoying hearing about, stupid Americans go to the Netherlands and be tourists and stuff, whatever, and talk about the amazing food that we have and whatever. So yeah, so that's it. You got anything else?
I don't think so. I'm ready for more sleep and then to attack Leiden tomorrow.
All right, so let's get to it. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see y'all, or we'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Not see, because this is audio. Bye, guys.
Bye.